Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Raypower FM. My name is Amechi Anakwe. It's a Tuesday, a lot happening across the country. The president in Turkey for a state visit. Some says he goes out again, and those that go to the goodbye to the president. I was chasing them away from their states. Why they always in Abuja? Local government chairmen who abandon their local government come to the state capital. Some of them will see here in Abuja, yes, a great number of them. For governors, they will abandon their states and come and be enjoying the good life of Abuja. Their responsibility is to make their states tourist destinations to the extent that Nigerians will look forward to traveling to their states. But the reverse is the case. They fail to do their work. They come to Abuja to enjoy the work done by others. Anyway, back home, Kano, peaceful. I spoke with our correspondent. This might say everywhere is peaceful. Indeed, the transition or defection from NNPP to APC has been achieved by Governor Abba Yusuf with several commissioners, some others resigning in solidarity with Rami Musa Kwankwaso, the Kwankwasea group. And so, an interesting day for us to start from. Developments in Kano. Tevetiav and Abulo Semoabu are here. Tevetiav, some takeaways from the development in Kano. I told someone yesterday, even your son at some point will disagree with you. Atiku Abubakar's son yesterday formally registered with the APC. He says he will work with the president because nobody can beat this president. So if your son, your biological son, can disagree with you, you raise the boy up right from to a boy to a teenager. And once he becomes a full-fledged man, even before then, you begin to see him begin to assert himself. You tell my son, you'll be an engineer, he'll tell you that no, agree with the Godfather. Politicians fail to realize that at some point in a man's life, he'll want to fully assert himself. And when he's done, you may see it as betrayal because Rabbi Mr. Kwankwaso says, as far as he's concerned, he has declared January 23, World Betrayal Day. That was the day Yusuf announced that he's leaving NNPP. Some people have also told him, you betrayed PDP, your party. You were one of the 5 governors that walked away from the Ego Square. That's betrayal. And there are other instances where they have also said you have betrayed people because of political interest. So it's all about interest here, gentlemen.
Indeed, Amechi, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. Kwankwaso was the APC, contested the ticket in, I think, 2015, came second in that.
That's presidential.
Surprisingly, came second in that presidential primaries of the party. You know, eventually he left. So it cuts across. It depends on which context he's looking at, but politics, like they always say, there are no permanent enemies, no permanent friends, the permanent interest, and that's what has played out and will continue to play out. I only hope that maybe academics or scholars or students of political science would make this an issue of research so that we'll dig deep into some of this. Because, like I said yesterday, they come in different forms and shapes. Some induced, some not induced, and several other things. In the issue of Kano, I think what broke the camel's back was in November, December, when the party held its congresses. And when we're talking of congresses, we're talking of a situation where, party officials are elected at the ward level, local government level, at the state, zonal, and then federal, national level as it were. So the reports, which even the governor and governor's aide, the spokesman, alluded to, and also the NNPP spokesperson in his statement, said that look, he's not the governor was carried along. He was part of those congresses, all through. But it appears that clearly the fact that the congresses were held and his men or the people he wanted, as part of this executive
of
NNPP were not, elected or given the chance to. He felt, look, he has no future in that party, and because of that, don't forget, even yesterday, I think he his spokesperson again, or one of made mention of, I think it was the commissioner was listening to one of the network stations, who said, look, that even the 44 local government chairmen that were elected in Kano State, that they were completely, all of them with the councillors, were handpicked or were anointed by the leader of the party, Onkoso, at the time. So to them, for the people who were anointed,
it was a stranglehold.
Yes, to move with him, into the APC, for them it was a great feat, and all of. So it speaks volumes for especially Godfathers, that if you want to hold down so much that you don't allow them to breathe in one way or the other. So it's so bad that they want to even appoint your chief of staff, they want to appoint your driver, they want to appoint your cleaner, your cook, everybody, practically everybody, and that creates problem and discontent. And I can tell you also that at the end of the day, you will discover that the initial fight, may not even between the governor and Konkoso, or in other places like Rivers, or in places like Benue, between the Godfather and the Godson or whatever. It's the people around. When they are unable to get what they want, they will now go back to the Godfather. This man doesn't like us, don't like your people, though. This is what he's doing, this is what he's doing. And they create that enmity. And eventually it snowballs into bigger crisis. And they are merchants of conflict.
When Yusuf comes, you expect him also to put his own structure, men in place. If he is unable to do that, if Kwankwaso is the one that did that, they will see a group of people that were chopping for 8 years, continue to chopping into the next 4 years, and they are hungry. They are close to the dining table. They are salivating, If you show a food to a dog and you've not presented before the dog, it begins to salivate. It happens to humans too. After salivating, they will say, no, they will need to get to the dining table. They will go and tell the guy, you're the governor. Be a man of yourself. Even your wife, people will be putting pressures on her. Help us get appointments. And your husband, the governor, cannot, because the Godfather has been in control. So there'll be pressures on the governor. Be assertive, rise up, be your own man. And that's when he will begin to rebel, as it were.
So that in almost all the situations, that's what eventually happens. The case of Benue State, for instance, started almost with that of the speaker. A few days after, when
choice of who will be the speaker,
and all of that. So, and people that are merchants of conflict, the political boys and women and girls and everybody, like you mentioned, who want to be part of it. And if they are not given that opportunity, they create that to create the and the Godfathers and the godsons also, like you said, when they put the pressure, they now start looking at it from a different perspective, and then the conflict starts, Cold War, and all of that.
They will start denying till they can't deny again. And it comes to the open. Abulu, is it not, will you describe it as great? You were in power for 8 years as governor. You selected everybody by yourself. Now, when is another person's turn? You also want to extend that power and influence into another person's period. How does it sink in? When you enjoyed it while you were there, you were the leader of the party, you detected who will get the ticket at whatever level. And when it's not your turn, you also want to dictate. Perhaps it's only Bola Tinubu that has achieved that. Since 1999, when democracy returned, there were instances where he had to fight with the people that succeeded him. Fashola, for instance, he fought bitterly with him, but somehow he brought in political sagacity, managed the situation. Today, I don't think he has a very good relationship with Fashola. In fact, he will not see Fashola from a distance. And Ambode also came in through his own, the help of the president. But perhaps he didn't quite do what he wanted, and he was able to ease him out. So the Jagaban, like you call him, has a way of having a stranglehold on the governor of Lagos State. And even everything that happened in other states happens, he still has a way of holding you down.
Amici, good morning, dear listener. I don't agree that it's permanent interest that exists in politics. what exists in politics is personal interest. And everywhere around the world, when politicians negotiate, first and foremost is personal interest. Out there, probably in developed economies, they carry public interest alongside, because as a politician, you want to serve the public. The politicians out in this part of the world want to serve their pockets. That's why you have personal interest. So when personal interest drives a man into public space, public office, he begins to think about his kinsmen, begins to think about his children, begins to think about those that we hand over to that will block the tracks where he has corruptly enriched himself. What happened in Kano interests me a lot, because I heard Ganduje said something on the podium. He said, "Welcome, you are now the leader of our party." And that, yes, and that statement alone, must have hurt some of his followers, must have hurt some of his apostles or disciples, as the case may be. But he said it. Politicians are very tricky in this part of the world. So that's why somebody described the game as a dirty game. Politics is a dirty game. How dirty is it?
A game of deception.
You see it.
A game of betrayals.
When I describe
a game of deceit.
When I describe them as desperate, insincere, and greedy, DIG, that is what they are. Now, Abba Yusuf is in APC. And what crowd did he bring to what crowd, or what movement did he bring to the APC?
He has no movement, but he brings in his own crowd.
Yes, you mentioned the Bola Tinubus of this world. Don't forget, Lagos is a cosmopolitan state, and you have people from all sides, especially the southwest people that come in from Osun, that come in from Ogun State to do business. Even Lagos, Igbo people that are in Lagos and grew in Lagos, and they form familiarity. Asiwaju took advantage of that cosmopolitan nature of Lagos State to be able to spread its tentacles. Don't forget, the articles of this world also tried to do that as vice president. He believed that he can plant seeds in some states and control the governors there. And the Wike of this world tried to do it from River State to see how he can move into some states and gain ground. Now, gaining ground is the joy of a politician. But how can you sustain that ground? We talk about the obedient movement. How are they at the moment? Are they really still growing, or are they depleting? Are they depleted into ADC? Are they depleted into APC? Are they depleted into, few of them remain in Labour Party? So it is the movement of a politician that determines whether he can be called a godfather. So if you build a good followership, good followership makes one uninvited godfather.
And Kwankwaso has a followership.
Now, Kwankwaso,
yes,
sorry,
he has a followership.
Kwankwaso godfatherism is gotten from the followership he built over the years. So, and if he's saying that yesterday is on the 23rd, is it 23rd now?
January 23rd, world betrayal.
Yeah, world betrayal. He don't forget that he denied his deputy to be governor when Ganduje showed all the traces.
No, he didn't deny him.
He
made him governor, so to say, in quotes.
That is where I'm.
But a fight ensued in between.
No, it was after he became governor that he became a man of his.
You know, that is what I was going to say. You know, sometimes we demonize godfatherism as if it should not exist, or it does not have a place in politics. It does. If people have been in those parties long before others joined. If you get into meet some politicians, there are some who were there First Republic, Second Republic. They know practically everything, you know, and all of that. And then people who came along built the structures, you know, and that. And then they supported people to get into office. A godfather cannot support a godson or a goddaughter, you know, and all of that. And then you not expect that he or she will have interest in getting one or two things. I think it's
not. You're getting one or two things, no problem. But they go beyond that.
That's what I'm saying. Is they're going beyond that issue. They should be able to understand that, look, the people they have supported into office, you know, also have, you know, they also have an agenda. They also have a direction in which they are going. Good in Edo State, Adams Oshomele's son is a commissioner. In Kano State, Kwankwaso's son was a commissioner
who had recently resigned.
It cut across. If you go to other states, that's how you know, and even at the federal, their daughters have been given one there, they support people to get into office, but they need to also understand. And the governors are those who also need to know that these godfathers are leaders. You can't. That's what the governor of Delta State will tell you, Sheriff. He will tell you that even as a governor, he has leaders, but also is by the time
drawing the line.
Yes,
they don't know where to draw the line. That's the problem.
So the challenge is when these psychopaths come and start talking to the governors, putting ideas into their head, they assume that they don't have leaders. Even the president, President Tinubu, has leaders. Who are his leaders? There are people he listens to. Who? There are people he listens to. Like who? The governor, what's the name?
Governor Forum in Lagos.
The advisory council,
yes,
for instance.
The governor's advisory council, GAC, and that's the structure that he put in place.
So the governors must understand.
To advise him. They advise him.
Yes, and he most times takes their advice. So the governors must understand. Other politicians who have been supported by God must understand that you won't just go and become a leader overnight. You are a leader, yes, but when you also have leaders that you must also.
Okay. The thing is that it's not just in politics that you have godfathers. Mentorship is everywhere. Here, there are people in this organization you mentor. But you just realize that as you mentor people, that there's a point that change is constant. There's a point when the person you mentor gets to that position, you take a seat back. You don't need to be told. I gave an instance of where your son will pose you. Your biological son, not to talk about someone you didn't know from Adam that you chose because the person showed some flashes of brilliance and all that. So everywhere people are mentored. And the basis of the main reason behind mentorship, people that you believe understand the values, the objectives of an organization or politics that you think can continue on the ideology. For instance, if it's
cameras and parade more sophisticated police and other security agents round all the corners of Anambra.
His directive, he has closed that market for weeks. They will sit at home for 1 week. Was that the right thing to do? Well, some of the traders are cruise say, but this around, banks are closed, they can't lodge their money there, and so many things. So, message to the governor, trade for at home. There are efforts the state government can also do. For instance, there are many government workers that don't come to work on Mondays. That's where I thought the governor should have started from. Let government workers work on Monday in Anambra, then use that moral standing to enforce outside. Again, Enugu state government was able to do away with sit at home.